We're going to learn a Maimer, a chassidic discourse by the Rebbe Rashab. He was called Shalom DovBer. He passed away in 1920. This particular discourse is from 1897. It's a long one, so we're going to have a few classes. I would say at least 6, 7, maybe 8, at least. This particular discourse, it's a classic one. Classic like a few. This discourse is learned in every yeshiva. Every student in Chabad at least should learn and know this discourse. It's a classic one. What's the subject of this discourse? Look, there's only one God. Don't make a mistake, there's only one God. However, there are expressions of God in different ways. He shows himself to us in different ways. This would be like the super summary, short summary of the whole thing. The Rebbe, of course, is going to go very deep and very detailed. It's not a difficult discourse, but it's very detailed. One of the amazing things of this fifth Rebbe of Chabad, Rebbe Rashab, he was called the Rambam of Hasidus. He's so methodic and he's so ordered and he's so one step, another step, and then another step, and then he's so clear in how he writes and how he talks, etc., etc. Most of these discourses, he just delivered the discourse and then somebody else wrote them. Sometimes he wrote first the discourse and then he delivered it. And sometimes he just wrote the whole book together. One big discourse, and then he chose which parts to say when. And he added just the beginning and at the end, and he just made a whole book. There are books and books and books of his discourses. Amazing. Now, this particular one, as far as I know, it's known, Vyodata Moskva. That's how it's known in the Chabad world. The word that starts the discourse is Vyodata, and you will know, as we're going to learn in a minute. And it was pronounced in Moscow, in Moskva, in 1887. Now, let's start. This verse that starts this particular discourse is in Parshas Vayeschanan. Parshas Vayeschanan itself, it's a very interesting parsha, full of amazing ideas. This is one of them. V'yadata hayom, you will know today, says Moshe Rabbeinu, repeating the whole Torah to the Jewish people before entering the land of Israel. You will know, land of Canaan, whatever. V'yadata hayom, you will know today. Vashivoisel levavecha, and you will put in your heart, Ki Havaye hu Elokim, that these two names of God, Havaye, which is the name of 4 letters, Yud Kei Vav Kei, and we're going just to use the word Havaye, which means nothing. It's just a way of referring to this particular name of God. Hu Elokim, He's the Lord. He's the ruler, so to speak. Chulei, etc., says the Rebbe. Hinei. Now, Hapsukim shekoidim zeh, the verses before this particular one, Medabrin me'inyan nitzias Mitzrayim u'knisas ha'aretz. They talk about going out of Egypt and entering the land of Canaan, etc. V'achar kach, and after saying you went out of Egypt and you will enter this land, etc., Oimer, the Moshe Rabbeinu says, V'yadat hayom, you will know today. Tzrichim lehovin, shaychus inyan, yetzias Mitzrayim, u'knisas ha'aretz le'v'yadata. We have to understand, this is the trigger, so to speak, of the whole discourse. We have to understand the relationship between going out of Egypt, going inside the land of Canaan, to this theme, whatever, you should know today, Havaye hu Elokim. These two names of God are actually the same thing. What's the relationship? First of all, we have to understand this part of the verse, that these two names of God are actually one thing. Havaye hu Elokim. He is the Lord. What does it mean? It's known what it's written on this in Zohar. Parenthesis, not in the discourse. This is my addition, definitely. This, even though we're going to learn some things that are deep Kabbalah, deep Hasidus, etc. However, I would say 99% of what we're going to learn applies to Bnei Noach. Why? I say 99% because the truth is, I don't remember everything. Okay, it's too many letters, too many pages, etc. I don't remember everything. So I'm going to be honest. But the point is that we're learning about the unity of God. And one of the things that Bnei Noach should really understand is that there's only one God. Otherwise, you are in a borderline to idolatry. We can go into the discussion that we're not going to do, and the Maimer doesn't talk about it, shituf. Society, can you associate something with God or not? Okay, that's a different discussion. We can learn a different discourse on that, on the whole thing. However, in this discourse, it's not going to talk about this. However, definitely, Bnei Noach should know there's only one God. So, this is what we're going to learn. There's only one God. And the truth is that, as far as I know, the only way, and I would stress it like really strong, the only way to really understand, and I'm being careful with the words, understanding in the mind, in the human mind, that there's only one God is by the tools of Kabbalah. There's no other way. So you can say, and it's okay to say that, and it's the proper thing to say, Bnei Noach should not learn Kabbalah. Yeah, you're right. Bnei Noach should not learn Kabbalah. I agree 100%. Gemara in Chagiga, the page 13, they should not learn. That's right. However, we're not going to learn Kabbalah. Hey, what you just said, deep Kabbalah things. Yeah, we're going to learn Hasidus. What's the difference? We're trying to understand how God is one, because this is something that He, God, expects from us, to serve Him, only Him, and not to associate, etc. Again, I'm not going into the argument whether you associate or not, but the point is, the best way, definitely, and the Rebbe says this in the Sikh clearly, is not to associate anything, even to the opinions that say that it would be allowed for non-Jews. Of course, the best way is not to associate anything, just God. That's the right way to go. So, this is what we're going to learn. How do we present to Him, and we learn His Torah, that Bnei Noach can learn the written Torah, definitely, everybody agrees, and you see so many names of God, and you see so many expressions of Him. What does that mean? How many gods do you have? To the point that the academics' understanding of the Torah is that there are different gods. And there are different guys that wrote the Torah. One guy wrote the Avaye part, one guy wrote the Elohim part, another guy wrote the Koyanim part, and somebody else put everything together. And the Levim part, so 5 guys. So, wait a second, quote unquote, 5 gods. So, okay, wait a second. There's only one. Don't make a mistake. The Torah said, yeah, let's learn. That's why we're going to learn some things that belong to Kabbalah, but not in the way of Kabbalah. The Kabbalah way would be, this is the map of what it is, take it or leave it, that's it. And we're going to understand, wait a second, how's the relationship with our avodah, with our service to God? That's the difference between Hasidus and Kabbalah. Hasidus is going to teach you, how do you present yourself to God? What is He expecting of you? Kabbalah is going to say, this is what it is. Take it or leave it. Okay, let's move on. That's my parenthesis as an introduction, so to speak. V'yadua. It's known, what's written in Zohar about this. Zohar is a book of Kabbalah, the Havaye v'Elokim kulachat. We're taking this a step further. The verse itself says, Havaye hu Elokim. Literal translation, simple. This name that we're calling Havaye, the name of 4 letters, He is the Lord. That's what the verse says. He is the Lord. Okay. But Kabbalah says, Zohar says, wait a second, these 2 names are one. And the obvious question, wait a second, it's 2 names. So 2 names is 2. 2 is 2 and 1 is 1. So how do you say 2 names are 1? I don't understand. That's what the Rebbe is asking. Apparently, I can't understand this. It's not understandable. How come it's one thing? It's 2 things, 2 names. It's not one. So I don't understand the phrase of the Zohar. The Hine Yadua. Now it's known. The Havaye hu makra gilui. The idea of the name Havaye is an expression of God. We're going to learn deeper patience, but it's an expression of God that is the source of revelation. And it's the concept, the quality of mercy. In parentheses, this is known, like in the Midrash, in the Zohar, it's in so many places. Nobody argues this. Havaye is related to mercy. Okay. Rachamim. What does that mean? It means that it's a revelation in the form of kindness mercy without any limit at all. That's what it means. That's Havaya. That's like, what does it represent? Revelation in a specific way. Because revelation could be in many ways. If a person comes to you with a whip and a terrible face, like this, he's revealing himself to you, but doesn't look so kind. So, Havaya means revelation in a way of chesed. He's smiling, so to speak. Any limit comes from another expression of God, which is the name Elohim, usually translated as the Lord or the judge, whatever, Elohim, severity. As we're going to explain, so it's just putting things together in order to start. But the name Havaya, it's a revelation. We already spoke which form this revelation has, chesed, rachamim, kindness, and mercy, but this revelation has no limit at all. Stop, point. The name Elohim represents the quality of judgment, contraction, tzimtzum, contraction. This is a word that is going to appear so many times in the Maimer. Contraction, tzimtzum. This word comes from the works of the Arizal. He came up, so to speak, with this idea that the Rebbe is going to explain really, really long. So, again, Elohim means din v'tzimtzum, severity and contraction. To contract and to conceal the revelation of light. The Rebbe is going to explain, okay? So I'm not going to say anything. And from this concealment comes the divisions in creation. Like you open your eyes and you see many things, many birds, many human beings, many things, whatever, in the world. How come there's only one God? This is a classical philosophical question. How come there's only one God and many creations? From one God, only one thing should come out, not many things. So who takes care of this transformation, so to speak, just to say it in some way? The Maimer is going to explain, the discourse is going to explain. Who takes care of this thing of from one many? Shem Elohim, the name Elohim. Okay. That's why this name is written in plural. Elohim Kedoshim, like holy lords with an S at the end. Liyos, why is it written in the word Elohim itself, which is the name of God? It's written in plural. Why? Liyos shemea tzimtzum ve'ahelem baberibu ischalkus. Because from the concealment, from the contraction and concealment, you get lots of divisions, etc., etc. The Rebbe is going to explain. I'm going to say the same thing, but in a different wording, in a different language, so to speak, language of Kabbalah. What's the language of Kabbalah? Shemavaye hu makera oirois. This name of Avaye is the source of lights. What does that mean, lights? We're going to explain later. Lights. Beshem Elohim makera kelim. And the name Elohim is the source of vessels. Lights and vessels. This is classical language of Arizal Kabbalah. Classical. Not all the Kabbalists talk about the same language. This is classical Arizal. The Ramak also talks a little bit about it, but in a different way. So, again, Shem Havaya is the source of lights, whatever that means. Shem Elohim is the source of vessels, whatever that means. We are oil, and this thing that we call light, upashut bli shum ischalkus klal ubli gvul. Two qualities that this light has. First of all, it's simple. No divisions at all. It's just one thing. It's not one thing composed of, no. Just simple thing. And the second quality, no limit. No limit. Why is it light? Why does light have these two qualities? So the Rebbe explains. The oir hu me'eina mo'oir. Light is similar to the luminary. This is one of the main, like deep stuff Chabad, the Alter Rebbe himself, brought, so to speak, to understanding and brought to Chassidus, so to speak. This understanding of oir me'eina mo'oir. The light is similar to the luminary. We'll see what this means. Parenthesis. Why is it So again, it's one wide after one, another wide. So first of all, we said light has two qualities. Quality number one, simple. Quality number two, no limit. Why? Because light is similar to the luminary. Why is that? Why is light similar to luminary? Because light is, it's tied, so to speak. Dovug means dveikus. I don't know how to say adherence. I don't know. It's adhere. It's tight, light. Yeah, to the light. To the mar, to the luminary. Chulei, etc. As it's known from the example that actually Alter Rebbe brings this example in Tanya, in the second part of Tanya, of the light and the ray of a sun, etc. He assumes we already know Tanya, we already know everything, and we probably learned every single Maimer up to this one. So, okay, he assumes we're too high, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Ukeshem, and just us, that the luminary, which is God, we just call him luminary, but it's God, is simple, with complete and absolute simpleness, in a way of no limits, real no limits at all. And since the luminary is like that, has these two qualities, so to speak, it's simple, like you can't say, and the Rambam says this is like simple knowledge. Everybody should know this. God is not composed of parts. God is one, and not like one in creation, like one body that is composed of many members, many organs, whatever. No, it's just one, a simple thing. And not one, the Rambam says this, not one like a species, one dog. No, and there are other dogs. No. And it's not one in individual species. No, it's a one. We cannot understand that there's nothing in creation, one like God. What's this special thing? Like he's saying over here, first of all, is simple in a complete way of simpleness, whatever if the word exists. In unlimited, essentially speaking. That's how he is, so to speak. And since the light is tied, davuk b'moed, tied to the luminary, the light that comes and the revelation that comes from him is just like him, like the luminary. Pashut b'li chalkus ubli gvul. Is simple, no divisions and no limits, etc. Okay, so we got, this is what Shem Havaya means in a Kabbalistic way, in Kabbalah language. Omnam, however, Shem Elokim umakra kelim. He continues with the Kabbalah language, so to speak. Shem Elokim, the name Elokim, the Lord, whatever, is the source of vessels. What does that mean, a vessel? What are you talking about? Point number one, I think every Kabbalah, serious Kabbalah book says the same thing at the beginning. Never think this is material stuff, that there are lights over there somewhere and there are vessels running in the air. No, none of this. The Maimer is going to explain very, very clear. No, it's just it's an idea. It's a concept. What is the concept of a vessel? In these vessels, whatever they are, gets contracted and concealed the light. And they put a limit in the light. What is this limit that they impose, these vessels impose in the light? That the light comes in a way of divisions. Which divisions? Chochma means wisdom, chesed means kindness, etc. Go learn the spheres, whatever they are. All of these comes from the vessels, not from the light. Again, what's the difference he made? He said, look, light doesn't have divisions at all. Cannot be separated into parts. No parts. However, the vessels, when the light goes through these vessels, they, so to speak, show and express the light in a specific way. That doesn't mean that the light itself acquires these ways. No. It's just like when you see water. Water doesn't have color. He's going to bring the example. This is a famous example of the Ramak, Moshe Cordovero, before the Arizal. So the famous example is when you see water. Water doesn't have any color. That's one of the natures, so to speak, of the water, qualities of water. But when you put water in a vessel, in a red vessel, you see red water. When you put water in a green vessel, you see green water. Is the water red or green? The answer is no. Even when the water is inside the vessel and you see red water, but the water itself is not red. That's what you see, but it's not what the water is. The water doesn't have any color. You just see through the walls of the vessel, red water, green water, and so on. So the same thing is saying over here. The light itself, light doesn't have any form at all, cannot be divided in any way, and doesn't have any limit. Well, but when the light goes through one of these vessels, the vessel puts in, so to speak, two things. The two things that he just explained by the light, and it's just repeated by the vessels. Magbilim, they put a limit in the light. What's the limit that they put into the light? That it's divided. Now it has different qualities. You have the light of Chokhmah, the light of Chesed, the light of wisdom, the light of kindness. All of this comes from the vessels, not from the light itself. And again, I insist on this. The light does not acquire these qualities because it's inside of the vessel or goes through the vessels. No. Light is unchanged at all. And even though, actually the rest of the Maimer is just to explain this phrase, even though the vessels of the 10 spheroids, sphera comes from the word sapir, light, whatever, it's an emanation, an expression of God, whatever it is. Even though the vessels of these 10 spheroids, these 10 emanations and expressions, they reveal, megalim esa'or, they reveal the light that is invested inside of them. What does that mean? Like the brain in the head. The brain, like the gray matter, whatever, the brain itself reveals the light of intellect that is invested inside of it in order to think. We could not think with the foot. You can't think with your eyes. You can think with your brain. Why? Because the brain has a specific matter, neurons and blah, 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 that they allow for the power of the soul invested in the brain, specifically the power of thinking, to work in the brain. And this same power, which is also found in other parts of the body, but it just doesn't get revealed because the eyes don't have this quality, physical quality of being able to reveal thinking. They reveal seeing, okay? A different power of the soul. The same thing happens with the eyes. It reveals the light of seeing, spiritual thing, something spiritual, seeing and thinking, whatever. And the heart, it reveals the emotions. The same thing happens, spiritually speaking. Above. Chokhmah moicha, he brings from the Zohar. Chokhmah, wisdom, it's in the brain. Chesed, droya yemina. Kindness is the right arm. Chule, etc. They reveal light. The truth is, this is what a vessel really means. This is the whole thing of a vessel. They reveal the light. And the light actually affects the world through these vessels. As it's known, and I brought you an example from the soul, etc. Point. Up to here comes the question. He made a terrible question. Tremendous question. What's the question? You just explained to me that the vessels hide, conceal the light. That's what they do. They put a limit into it, they conceal. But wait a second. Vessels reveal. They don't conceal. Through the vessels, things get revealed. Imagine, he brought the example of a brain, but imagine the hand. When a person writes a book, today you don't write with your hand, you just type or whatever. When a person writes something in something that makes sense the hand is thinking, it's really coming up with ideas. Wait a second, it's just a hand. The brain is coming up with ideas, but the hand becomes a vessel for the idea to go into a paper, so it can go to somebody else, and somebody else can read and say, oh, you're smart, you're a fool, or whatever. I like it, I don't like it, it doesn't matter. So the hand is a vessel. What kind of vessel? When the body works properly, the person is healthy, etc., it's a perfect vessel that reveals what's in the brain. When you know how to write and the language, etc. But it reveals. Why do you say that the vessels actually conceal the light? They reveal the light, they don't conceal the light. That's the question. Hine, now, I'm going to answer the question. Both things are true. Both things are true at the same time, actually. Shehem, these vessels, megalim es ha'or, they reveal the light. Vegam malimim u'mastirim al ha'or. And they also, at the same time, conceal. Mailim, mastir, is the same thing. Concealed, hide, whatever. Ha'or, the light. At the same time, both things together. Why? And actually, it's two opposite activities. Completely opposite. Reveal and conceal. The fact that the vessels actually reveal the light. It's a light that is according to the level, so to speak, of the worlds, comparable to the worlds. He's going to explain. The worlds means something spiritual, abstract, etc. The Akelim, the Spheres, the Atzilus, one small parenthesis. He assumes we know a lot, but sometimes we don't, but whatever. He brings so many names and things that he assumes we already know what he's talking about. It says that it's a story about the Alter Rebbe, not a specific story. I mean, it's known that the Alter Rebbe had, the founder of Chabad, this is the fifth Rebbe, we're talking about the first one. He had Chadarim, he had different levels of a school. Small school with 3 levels. I don't remember the 3 levels, right now I don't remember them, but the first one, and usually they were called Cheder. Cheder is like for small children. The first level, you have to be expert by heart in the whole Talmud, in the whole Zohar, in the whole Kisvei Arizal, the writings of the Arizal, to enter the first level of school. You want to learn with me? Okay. First of all, there are things that you should already know. Don't waste my time. So the Rebbe over here is assuming we know lots of things. The word Atzilus, there are different translations, means usually the higher, there are higher than Atzilus a lot, lots of levels, but usually means the higher world, which means Etzloi, the Samuch, close to him. Usually, this world, again, it's an abstract thing, it's not like Mars or Venus, no. It's an abstract concept that means a world that is only a revelation of God. It's not something separated from God, it's a revelation of him. And it's, again, Etzloi, close to him. Atzilus. That's why the word Atzilus is actually Atzilus, which means also emanation, but the point is, he's close to him. So, now, we're trying to understand, again, how come that the vessels have 2 completely opposite activities at the same time? So he says, first of all, there's a revelation. This revelation means that they reveal the light in a way that the lower levels can actually understand it and get it, catch it. He's going to explain. Kelim, the Spheres, the Atzilus, the vessels of the 10 emanations, whatever, of Atzilus, this word that is called Atzilus emanation, Meirim umegalim oirbe oilamo Atzilus. They reveal, they shine, so to speak, and reveal light in the world of Atzilus. Okay, so in a way that this world can actually get this light. And through a curtain, so to speak, that separates from the first of these 4 worlds, Atzilus, emanations, to Bria, creation, a different world. There's a something like a curtain that separates between these 2 worlds. There's no curtain, physical curtain over there, nothing like that. It's just a abstract thing, and we're bringing one word to try to understand something of something that is completely impossible to understand. Okay, so we call it parsa. We call it curtain. Through this curtain that separates between the world of emanation, Atzilus, and Bria, creation, through that, these vessels reveal the light in the world of Bria, creation. And from that, so on, so to speak. From that world of the world of creation, the world of formation, etc. But don't think this is a revelation of the light just as it is. He's going to explain. That's why I'm not saying anything else than the translation. He's going to explain clearly, very clear with examples and everything. So don't think it's the real light, so to speak, just as it is. No. Because we explained already, the light is similar to the luminary. And we said that this means two things. It's pashut betachlis, it's completely simple and no limits. If that's what the light is, the light, just as it is, essential light, is not comparable. It's not in the level of getting revealed in the worlds. It's impossible. Because the definition of a world, what does it mean, oilam, world? It means, forcedly speaking, it means something, yesh, ego, so to speak. I'm here, and gvul, limit. Like, if you ask, who's Tuvia? So, okay, it's me. That's me. That's what I am. And it's not like a bad thing. I'm just saying, that's me. Yeah, I have to raise my hand and say, it's me. And are you something? Yes, I am something. I live here, and I do this, I have my family, etc., etc. So when you say there's a world, the fact that you're saying there's something called a world, it already gives it in Hebrew you say metzius, an existence, a definition. Like when you say the world of doctors, okay? They talk about limbs and diseases. I don't know what the doctors talk about, but whatever. And the world of the lawyers. Okay, so they make jokes about laws, and this guy killed the other one. Yeah, it's so funny. And if you're not a lawyer, you don't understand what they're talking about. So there's a world that has a definition. These guys are lawyers, these guys are doctors. Don't mix them. No way. Like in medicine, whatever, don't mix them. So whenever you say a world, that's it. You put a limit into it. You already put a limit. Even in the higher world that we say emanations, Atzilus is close to God. Wow, so it's such a lofty world. Yeah, very nice. It's a world, has limits. Hainu, haicholes de Atzilus, whatever that means, is like the palaces, the houses of Atzilus, whatever. They're also something definable. They have a limit. As it's written in Tanya, in one of the letters of Tanya over there of the Alter Rebbe, that starts with these words from the Zohar, etc. It's very deep and difficult letter, long and deep. So what we're saying is, even the highest and most abstract world, I'm sorry, you called it world, that's it, has a limit, has a definition, has a limit, is this and not something else. How much more so? A lower world, the world of creation. The lowest and the lowest. They have a limit, etc. And limit and without limit, these two things, and they are completely uncomparable at all, one to the other. Impossible to compare one thing with the other. He's like continuing with one idea. He's bringing the idea that the light as it is by itself cannot be revealed in the worlds. Why? Because the light is unlimited, bli gvul, and the worlds are limited, gvul, and they can't go together. They cannot go together. Impossible. You just should have understood that the light as it is by itself cannot be compared to the worlds. Impossible. Limit and unlimited together. They don't go together. Vim can move on. If so, we can understand the fact that these vessels reveal the light in the worlds. We're not talking about the light itself. No, sir. Rather, an external reflection. He's going to repeat this idea so many times. I'll explain in a second with an example. An external reflection. However, etzem ha'or, the essence of the light, hu bebechinas helen bahem. It's completely concealed in them. Shemalimim alav chulei. They conceal this light, etc. And through this fact that they conceal the light, they reveal the external part of the light. That it should shine actually and affect the worlds, etc. Point. What does it mean, chitzonius? Something external. Everything in the world, everything is creating with two faces, so to speak. An internal face and an external face. Anything in the world, you can actually explain anything with these two things. Why? Suppose yourself. It's you for yourself, your thoughts, your life, and it's you for somebody else. Even for your close family, it doesn't matter. You for you, it's one thing, and you for somebody else is something else. So it's internal and external. Pnimius means internal. Chitzonius means external. How you talk, how you show yourself, how you look yourself. It's you for somebody else. You don't care about how you look yourself, or at least a person shouldn't care too much. I don't care if I'm bald. My children laugh at me. You're bald. You're going to end up being bald because you're my son, But I don't care. It's just how I look at somebody. I don't care about my hair. I really don't care. So, again, that's Pnimius and Chitzonius. Internal, how you're for yourself, and how you look for somebody else. And this thing called vessel, what does it do? The Rebbe is going to say later, but what does it do? It's like the body and the soul. The body, on one hand, conceals the soul. You don't see my soul. I don't see my soul either, but you don't see my soul. But at the same time, the body is a perfect vessel to express the soul. So at the same time, two things happen: concealment and revelation. But what's the concealment? Concealment of the essence, so to speak. My soul, my real essence, is concealed. And what gets revealed? Ha'ara chitzonius, an external reflection, a minimum thing of what this thing really is. But that's what the revelation is. So the vessels have these two opposite activities to reveal an external. He added this concept. We didn't know this concept before, so to speak. He just brought it in. There's a revelation of an external idea, and there's a concealment of an internal idea. That's what the vessels do, and at the same time, they both do both things.